Also scared because I watched your kicks, your short kick, and of course this new one. That's our time, and they're both great. They're both amazing. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy jump from comedy to horror. They're not
oh
that
yeah,
different. They're not that different, surprisingly. They're just, someone falling down the stairs and, like Benny Hill cracking their neck and getting up and going about their day is funny. Someone falling down the stairs, cracking their neck and just staying down is horror. So, yeah.
So, like, how did the idea of "That's Our Time" became? Because to be honest, it is like to to be honest to me, it almost lends itself to out to be like you can make that like a 5-hour movie, like because the story is so great, and if you don't pick up on the aspects of it, and here we're not going to ruin, the twist, but where did the idea of that come for you?
Well, I mean, like you said, Second City earlier, my writing partner, Josh Callahan, and most of the stuff we do starts off as a sketch that we would think would be funny. If it makes us laugh and we joke around, we will kind of we'll poke at that thread and we'll pull at it. We'll tug at it until we kind of either reveal something that we're interested in pursuing, or if we joke around about something and we forget about it in 3 days, that usually means that it either A wasn't funny enough or B just didn't stick with us. So it's very hard to talk about the short without spoiling it.
yeah,
So I can't really tell you what that sketch was,
yeah.
but I can tell you offline. And then if any listeners see it and then they want to know what the sketch idea was, I'd be happy to tell them via social media.
Okay,
But yeah,
okay.
it started as a sketch and it just kind of slowly morphed. I mean, we were feeling a certain kind of way, like most people were in the pandemic. We were kind of exploring some of those feelings. I was hit particularly hard with a series of like random tragedies that happened over
Oh
the
no.
pandemic, and I'm 30. Oh boy, I can't even remember how old I am. I believe I'm 37 now. I'm
Nice.
37, and it was kind of my first good year of like, oh my goodness, like friends are getting sick that are my age. People in my life that I've known for a long time are tragically passing away. It was just like kind of a strange, uh, just kind of being surrounded by stuff
Right.
that, for lack of a better word, I was privileged and blessed to not have experienced a lot up
Hmm.
until this age. And I told Josh, I said, I just want to explore some of those themes. It seems like if the universe is telling me all of this and showing me all of this, I probably need to look inward. And like any artist, usually I kind of turn to my art to help me process
Sure.
Right.
things that are particularly difficult. Yeah.
How did Marquis and Deborah Wilson get involved in this? Because they were incredible. They fit the roles so perfectly.
Marquis is a dear friend of mine. So
Oh,
I've known
nice.
Marquis for a long time. His wife is very good friends with my wife, and we had always wanted to work together. But just the right thing hadn't really come up. But when Josh and I finished this script, he was I sent it to two people. I sent it to my producer, Steve, and I sent it to Marquis. And I said, Marquis, I think that this might be a good one for us to work on for the first time together. If you're interested, give it a read and let me know. And he gave it a read. He got back to me like I think either the next day or 2 days later and just
Awesome.
said, "I got to do this. This is perfect. This is exactly what I've wanted to do in my next steps of my career." And I said, "Well, then we're speaking the same language." In regards to Deborah,
Hmm.
that was a little bit more of your traditional casting process.
All right.
So we needed our therapist to be somebody that Marquis's character, without spoiling anything, would sit down with and be so intrigued by her that she would almost envelop him with her philosophy.
Hmm.
And when you meet Deborah, like Deborah is so supremely 100% authentic to herself that it could only have been Deborah Wilson. It was my wife's idea. She said, I just ran into my friend who's doing a video game with Deborah Wilson, and
Hmm.
this therapist you're describing sounds like Deborah Wilson." And I said, Deborah Wilson is such a stroke of genius for this therapist. And we shot Deborah an email, and Deborah read the script. I had one call with her, and I could tell right away that she was super into it. And yeah, we just kind of went from there. So, I mean, a lot of it was just kind of emailing people, sending stuff out, having them read the material first. I think if I can speak for Josh and I think a lot of people who make short films don't quite understand this, which is the importance of a good script before you start making it. That makes a world of difference when you're in production and in pre-production, because if you have a strong script and you've done the work there, people will A, try to elevate to that, and B, you're going to attract the type of talent you want to be working with if they're reading a script that is already compelling. If they can see the vision in the script, you've already done your job.
So, I watched this. I've probably watched it 4 or 5 times now, and I was watching it last night. My wife walked into the room, halfway through it, sat down, and she was looking at her phone. By the time it was done, she was looking at it. It's like, can you restart that? That was fucking cool as shit. So,
we so happy to hear.
Yeah. It's really, honestly, it's really hard to get my wife into watching something new, and to know that she was so into it was a testament to how good That's Our Time is. One of the things I really noticed when I was watching it is how quickly you're able to flesh out a character. Like a minute and a half into this thing, I sort of felt like I knew who Marquis was and who Deborah was. I sort of got an idea of how they are. So how are you able to flesh out a character in such a short time?
Improv, man. I mean, when you learn to, again, I preach that gospel for anyone that wants to get into writing. Josh and I met at the Second City. That's where we learned. I would have never considered myself a writer. I have the worst grammar on the planet. I got ADHD in a way you cannot understand. Josh, on the other hand, is an incredibly gifted writer, has incredible grammar, and totally understands structure in a way that I don't. So the two of us, our ideas, and kind of, I'm all about like, how can we do something you haven't seen, and how can we make it visually crazy and weird? And Josh is like, okay, but yeah, what happens, and why do our characters do what they do, and why do they care? And those kind of things mold into what you see. But to answer your question, when you improvise, you have 3 lines to establish that. What the scene partner's name is, you name them, they name you, you say what you're doing there and why you're doing what you're doing. And if you can get that out in your first 5 lines, then the audience can go along with you as you make up this story. But if nobody's clear on what's going on, we've all seen bad improv. It's usually because you don't understand what's happening in the scene. And if you don't understand, there's a good chance they don't understand, the improvisers. So for me, especially in a short film, it's so important to very, very, very quickly establish the things that we need to know before we get into the story, or else people are going to start to drift. It's like the who, the what, the where, and then the why. And then very specifically, when you're doing a twisty thing, kind of what we're doing, usually you reserve one of those to the end, right? So for our film, without spoiling it, we're probably removing the who, right? Or the why. We're kind of holding back that, and then at the end you're presented with it and you're out, because you've learned everything you need to learn about this story. So I mean, it really is just like years of doing live improv comedy and taking those philosophies and kind of attributing them to a short film.
Now, not just your short film here, but I mean, you've worked on, some video game storylines as well. One of them I'm probably going to have to sue you for, because my name is Neil Blackwood, and I feel like I need to get some, what repercussions on that?
Some residuals. You need some residuals.
Yeah. But, so like, the difference between writing, where you got, your ability to just do whatever you want, and I'm saying like Star Wars, Old Republic, or even Chris, say it for me. What?
Elder Scrolls?
Yes,
What
Elder Scrolls. Thank you. I worked 16 hours yesterday, bro. I literally, I worked record store day. I worked at a farmer's market. It was a long day yesterday. Anyway, so sorry about that. But anyway, so what's the difference? Do they give you like a guideline when you're working for like the Star Wars universe, and like compared to, having your own open ability, or how do they guide you over in like those kind of places?
Well, everybody's different. So every client has a kind of a different way of approaching. I've kind of dabbled in all sorts of different places in the video game space. So for Elder Scrolls, I direct and write with Josh these they're almost like lore marketing pieces. So they're like we throw them up for like each new expansion, and it's a way for the player to learn the story really quickly, kind of understand what's going on, and decide whether they want to dive into the game. So for something like Elder Scrolls, like their lore is baked in. So their lore team, they tell us what it is, we ingest it, digest it, and then we kind of like figure out how to very quickly in like 5 minutes psych the player up to want to jump into that game. For something like Star Wars, that was like a straight short film that we wrote.
Yeah,
so like
that
was oh, thank you. We're very proud of Disorder. The Neil Upadhyay, who directed that, absolutely crushed it. For something like Star Wars, that was I would say just kind of like, we're thinking something like this, and then kind of go off and write something. And then you deliver drafts to the client, which in this case was BioWare and Lucasfilm, and they would read it and they would send back notes, and we would refine and refine and refine until, usually, even if you're always going to get to the deadline, like the last available second to work on, just because like, why not keep trying to make it as good as possible? Very rarely are you like, dang, we beat our deadline by a week. Like, no, you're going to be working on that to the bitter end. And with that, Josh and I sat down and we just said, okay, like if we had one shot to work on Star Wars, which I am a huge fan of, I grew up on it. I'm sure like both of you, like anybody who loves film, it's pretty hard to have not been touched by Star Wars in some kind of way.
Absolutely.
For us, it was, if we get one shot to touch this, what would be cool? Like, what could be like, how cool could we make it in 8 minutes?
Right.
And then we worked with Neil, a couple of other on-staff writers that were kind of coming in and out and working with us and creating it. So for that, it was much more of a traditional scripting process. And then when I work on a personal thing, the beauty of it is I don't answer to anyone. I only answer to me, my taste, Josh's taste, and anyone that's working on the project, or someone who I send the script to for notes. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's why independent filmmakers make the films that they make, is because they don't have a corporate entity over them telling them what to do. I mean, that's why when you go to a place like Panic Fest, there's a huge difference between the independent films you see and something like Renfield. It's not just money and budget and Nicolas Cage. It's also, there are 8 production companies brought on to fund the thing. There are multiple producers, creative producers, executive producers. You've got something as simple as like, hey, we can't show that thing in this country, so you've got to change that. So there's so many things that come in when you're making something for the studio system. And then when you're making something on your own, like That's Our Time, it's really just all about what is going to surprise me and delight me. And if I get one chance to like put something on screen for an audience, I want them to kind of see me in it. You know what I mean? I want them to see my taste. I'm not doing something to please them. I'm doing it to please me. And in turn, if I like this thing, someone else is probably going to like this thing. I think that is the That's the big difference, is that
Yeah.
you're your
And-
you're your critic when you're making it yourself.
And Alex, that's exactly how this actually podcast started. Me and Chris noticed that there weren't people out there reviewing movies honestly. Instead, you got your critics that are like, "Oh, we're trying to make this sound better for this studio." And in fact, me and Chris met at a D&D group. That's how we met.
Nice.
And the first movie that we reviewed together was I, Tanya and the Last Jedi. Were the two movies that we reviewed on our first episode. Which
The Last Jedi, never heard of it. Did people talk about that?
And
Did people
someone
have
talked
opinions
about
on
it
that?
somewhere.
yeah, somewhere I saw that somewhere.
Something about some guy named Luke. I don't know who that guy is. So, are you working on any other, any video games or anything coming out soon? Because
I'm
you do have a good history at this point.
I'm directing some stuff right now that I can't say, but I do have. I'm working on some more stuff. Most recently, I did some very light story work on the new Need for Speed. So I quickly jumped in and did a bunch of random racer missions and stuff. It was fun. I wouldn't call. When you think of illicit street racing, I'm not the person that probably pops into most people. So, that was super fun. But mostly right now, we are just really actively working on a feature film based off of this short film.
Oh,
we are
fucking awesome.
We are trying to get a killer script written and get a feature of this thing made. And we've got some interest. We've got some momentum. So that's the big task right now.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. So when it comes to, you're probably a gamer, right?
Yeah, I would consider myself someone who plays and likes the video games that I like. I wouldn't say I'll watch every movie that comes out.
Yeah, sure.
I'll engage with most every TV show. I will not play most every video game. I will play a select few.
So what's your shit when it comes to playing video games? What do you love?
I'm actually right now playing the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Me too.
Because the original Resident Evil 4 is my favorite video game.
It's a great choice.
An easy one to jump into. I've played both of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
I played a ton of Destiny. I played.
Oh my gosh!
It was like a sickness. I had to stop. I had to stop.
I thought I was going to get divorced from my wife at one point because of that game. It's like I got to make my guy. I got to get him up.
When you were doing your research on me, you'll notice there's a 2-year gap of doing work. That's because I was playing Destiny. I was so addicted to it. Yeah, that was a fantastic game. I loved it, but obviously, it got to the point where had to put that one down. And note, a bunch of my friends still play it, still love it. I had to kind of choose: do I want to play this, or do I want to try to write more and focus more on my art? And
that's why I had to uninstall Stardew Valley off my Switch.
Literally with me, I had to give myself the rule: if it doesn't have an ending, I can't play it.
Yeah,
it has to have an ending.
That's a good philosophy. So I'm mostly just playing stuff that has an ending. Yep. My wife would be like, "Did you beat that?" Well, you don't really beat that. And she'd be like, just walk away. Not the answers you wanted to hear.
Yeah, so my wife says the same thing about Binding of Isaac. I'm like, not really. You don't ever beat it.
Now, jumping back to That's Our Time. This the cinematography in that is just, the colors are bright.
Set decoration, all that stuff is
incredible. Was that more of Danny's influence into that, or was that more of your vision, or because I love how the colors just pop in that short.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's definitely a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
When I first approached Danny, I said, okay, this is what I'm thinking. We've got 2 color worlds. We've got, I definitely want to shoot it on anamorphic. I have a shot list. This is what I want to do. And then Danny kind of takes in what my vision is. And then he figures out the best way to achieve that as a cinematographer. So the images you're looking at on screen, Danny crafted them, but they were in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like it's a good hybrid. Like I could never achieve something that looks as good as what Danny achieved. Like he is a brilliant cinematographer. But like in terms of like colors and kind of what we're seeing in each room and what the production design looks like, I'm sort of the center hub of that bike wheel, and then all of my department heads kind of spoke off. Like they all kind of reach off, and we make this wheel, and then we roll together. So Elizabeth, our production designer, I kind of told her what I was thinking. She put together a mood board. I told her I like this, I don't like this. Then she goes off and she gets those things. We location scout. Everything kind of moves together all through kind of the vision that's in my head. And this vision was in my head as we were scripting it.
Oh, cool.
Like what you're seeing is what it looked like in my head while we were writing it. It always looked like that. So it's just a matter of trying to achieve that every step of the way. And everybody's kind of servicing that vision. I'm very, very happy and proud of the way that the short film looks and how it turned out. It was like very important to me that it just be a striking image to look at. Otherwise, like why do it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like for me, that's such a thing. Like when I'm watching movies, I care so much about the image that's being shown to me. I mean, movies are light and sound. Those are the two things, the image and the sound. Those are so important to the craft. And if you don't take those things and those parts of the craft seriously, it shows in the and that's not saying like don't get out and make stuff if you don't have a cinema camera. That's not at all what I'm saying. You should be practicing, you should be honing your craft, but you should be caring about all of those things as much as you can possibly care about them, pending your budgetary restraints. They're the most important things. Story, the visuals, and the sound, like those three things make up the art form. And if you're skipping steps, it's gonna show when it pops up on the screen.
Now, the short. Now, again, like I said, we've been going deep diving into your what we can find on the interwebs of you. By the way, you haven't updated your Facebook since 2019. Just want you to know
that. Technically, here's the truth about that. That Facebook has been deactivated.
Wow.
But some of these film festivals have like Facebook groups. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll undo this and I'll join a Facebook group. Now that you reminded me, I got to go deactivate it right after this call. So I'm going to go deactivate my Facebook. I hate Facebook. I truly hate it.
So when we're looking into some of your stuff, one of the things that definitely popped up was the short that you made called Kick.
Yeah.
And to be honest, again, I love the idea of the short Kick.
Kick is weird, man.
It is.
Kick
it is
weird.
A strange one. But I was just like, okay, cool. All right. Oh,
I love the little details. I love the little details, like with the book she was reading right before she went over the house. Like,
yeah. We catch up on these things, and so, like, was filming this that's our time like different than how you filmed Kick, or was Kick kind of like your first time doing like a real life filming?
Kick was my first time directing a narrative short film. So like Kick was my first time story shooting, get it onto an editing suite, edit it, and get it into film festivals. Now Kick is not my story. So I directed Kick with my dear friend Tanner, who had directed tons of shorts. And originally he was like, hey, I kind of want you to be in this. I want you to be in Kick. And I said, man, I'm just not acting anymore. I don't really like it. I want to step into directing. I want to start directing more. I'm much more passionate about it. And Tanner said, great. You want to direct it with me? I just want to work with you. I like working with you. So the idea had already been baked in. Patty Doheny had written the script, and we had started working on it. And the original story, for those of you listening, it's about a young woman who's pregnant who goes over to her neighbor's house because she hears some noise, and kind of chaos ensues from there. The original story was a man goes over with his pregnant wife sleeping, and he's like, "You need to keep it down. My pregnant wife is sleeping." And we got a note. Again, we send out the script looking for opinions from our close friends, and someone said, "I got to be honest with you. I feel like the more interesting version of this story is the pregnant woman goes over to tell people to shut up."
Yes.
Yeah.
And that note came from Sam Sheckman and my wife, who plays Paige. My wife plays
Oh, cool.
Okay.
the woman.
Yeah.
They both said it, and we went, that's pretty good. So like we went off, rewrote the script, and then shot Kick. Kick was harder in some sense because Kick has so much more blocking and so much more things going on in it. Like the story is much stranger than That's Our Time. I think That's Our Time is twistier, but like, and a little bit more of a thinker than Kick is. Kick is kind of just insanity.
A lot of
so
it.
the real difference, I think, between the two of them just was like the sheer amount of shots we needed to achieve for Kick versus That's Our Time. That's Our Time was much more of an like, get these actors in a room and let them cook. Whereas Kick was like, okay, we got that. We got to move on. We like need to move on right now because we're falling behind.
I mean, yeah, I loved Kick, and I love That's Our Time. I was really impressed. For some reason, when I got the email, it went straight to my spam for some reason. And I checked. I'm like, why didn't I see this before?
Yeah, Kick remind me of this time I got invited to a party. I walked in the door and I was like, "No, this ain't the party for me. I gotta go." That's what it kind of reminded me of when the pregnant lady realizes what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like we can spoil Kick because it's not on the festival. She basically goes over to her neighbor's house. She thinks they're having a party, but it's like a crazy BDSM, like dominatrix fucking night with these like old people just like whipping each other. And then like this big dude in a giant gimp costume like chases her around for like 10 minutes. It's wild. It's strange. It's and I repeat, it was not my story. It was not my story.
We have a friend named Jeff that I'm gonna buy that costume for
Dude, I think it's on Amazon. I think we just looked up like 3XL gimp costume. I'm like, you can get it tomorrow. Jeff Bezos will drop it off. All right. Sounds good.
Oh my god.
So as a director, what do you think is the most important quality to possess that would win to being a director?
Like what's the most important like place to start, or what's the most important thing like to think about when you're directing?
Like, what do you think a director needs to need to have before they start directing?
Taste.
Yeah.
Like I think it's really that simple. Like you have to have opinions.
Yeah,
and you have to have thoughts. You have to know what you want. You have to have a vision. And if you can't create that vision, it's going to suffer because everybody's looking to you to have that. It's not your DP's job to know what the image looks like. It's his job to help you achieve what you want that image to look like what I was saying for Danny. It is not up to my production designer to go design everything because they don't know what the actors are doing. Are they standing up? Are they sitting down? Are they running? What's the camera doing? Are we going to even see this wall? Right? We're not even going to see that wall. Don't set deck it. So there's this kind of like, there's a balance. It's really as simple as like, ever since I was a kid, I always thought I just kind of had quirky taste and I was into weird stuff. And I think people recognize that in me. My mom always laughs because when I was in middle school, late middle school, early high school. Like I had to get like a suit for like, weddings and family
Right.
shit and going out to dinner and all this stuff that I never cared about. But you know what I hated about suits were when I was younger, fat ties were really popular. You guys remember these
Mhm.
like Warner
Oh
Brothers,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
fat silk ties? And I was like, these are whack. I want like a skinny tie. I want like a little thin tie, like a little Reservoir Dogs tie. Give me a little
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
And my mom was like, Alex, they don't sell those anywhere. You're gonna have to go to like a weird thrift shop in Berkeley to find that. I was like, that's what I'm gonna go to Berkeley. It's like I go to Berkeley, I get this little thin black tie, and I'm wearing that, and everyone's like, look at this. He looks like a 1960s greaser in this stupid tie. Everyone was like judging me, and I was like, my skinny black tie is cool. And then like 4 years later, like fat ties were gone. All you could buy were skinny ties. Mom always left. She's like, you and that fucking skinny tie. Like everybody, you had to have your skinny tie like 5 years early. And I think that's like the little secret is just kind of knowing what's going to be a thing or what's the thing, and kind of being super interested in what all these different artists are doing and kind of engaging with it. That's why Panic Fest, I'm so happy we got into Panic Fest.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I look at Panic Fest, I'm like, this in like 4 years, I was telling the programmers this, is going to be like the biggest genre festival in the country.
Yeah.
You can feel it. It's like they take everything super seriously. The branding's amazing. The selections are great. The theater is really cool, and the audience is super engaged. Like all the things you need for a successful film festival, they're doing in spades there. So for me, I think that's the most important thing as a director is just really love the things that you love and try to harness what you like about them into kind of a forward vision as an artist.
I tell everyone my favorite time of year is Panic Fest because
Oh yeah,
it's such a blast. I go every year, and these past few years we've been lucky enough to be able to cover it as a press,
yeah,
But we've been going to that since before then.
He's been going for years, and we've been
Yeah.
covering movies from it for just shits and giggles until
Yeah.
they're finally like, "Hey, you want to be press for us?" And it's like,
yeah, for
but
sure.
when I used to live in Kansas City, it would have been easier. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma now, so it's like a 5-hour drive to try to get up there. And plus, I work in local radio here, so it's like it's hard to just be like, "Hey, I can go to a whole week in Kansas City to hang out." Now, do you have any? Well, no, you told us there's stuff that you're working on. You can't really tell us about. We write down all our questions and send them back and forth to each other, so we're on top of stuff for you. What advice? Okay, so one of my favorite questions to ask every person that we get to talk to, especially directors and writers here at the Panic Fest, what advice can you give to up and comers that are just starting off, that are just like, man, I'm having a hard go of it, but what's the best advice you can give to new up and comers trying to break into the industry?
Totally. I think the first big one is that it's a numbers game. Just stick it out. Stick it out. As hard like if you got to work 3 jobs, work 3 jobs. Stick it out, because that's what separates people. Are the people that, I mean, I jokingly say like I have a sickness for wanting to do this,
Right.
and I am just like feverishly, ferociously just trying to achieve that dream at all times. And you have to want it more for yourself, because nobody's going to give you permission to do it. Nobody's going to try and do it for
Right.
you. So really, like, honestly, the best advice is just stick it out. And if you're referring very specifically to like people that move to LA, it's find a community as quickly as you can. Get into an improv class, even if you're a director, get into an acting class.
Yeah.
Get into a class, get around like-minded artists and individuals, make friends, work together, stick together. Like, I don't mean networking in the gross Hollywood networking way of saying it, but also I do mean that a little bit. Create a network of friends around you. See movies together. Go out to dinner together. talk about movies, talk about art. I have a dear, dear friend who's just like my directing friend who I see movies with because she will go see everything.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She'll go see it.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, even having that is super, super important. And watch everything. Do not just watch what you like.
Yeah.
Watch everything. Challenge yourself. Like, I love Marvel movies. They're great. I see everyone in the theater. I haven't loved them so much lately, but I do love the MCU. I see all of them. But I also go see like every art house movie in the theater.
Every A24 movie, that's what me and Chris, why we work so well on this podcast is because, as you can honestly see, I'm more of the comic book nerd, and stuff like that. And Chris is more of the artistic, Chris will send me a movie and I'll be like, okay, why the hell am I watching this, bro? Why am I watching it? And then I'll watch it, and then we go to do the review for it, and I'll be like, dude, I love this movie. Like, I can't believe this is the weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen. But yeah, man, let's do more of this. And so that's what I like about having that counteractive. I absolutely love what you're saying here, because literally me and Chris's love of movies. I used to live above a one-screen movie theater in a small town in Indiana. He used to, he grew up in Texas playing in a punk band.
Yeah.
Like we're like literally other sides of the coins on so many aspects of what we like. It is, he likes a good ska band, and I'm like, I like death metal, like it's like the opposite.
I mean, listen, but I that's the other thing I didn't even really talk about. I mean, a lot of what you're seeing in That's Our Time and like kind of the hustle comes from my years of playing in punk bands.
Oh yeah.
It's like punk bands just do it themselves.
Oh yeah.
Like there's nobody out there is like feverishly desperate for more music from a punk band. Like only people that love punk and love that band want more of it. So, I grew up in Northern California, and a big thing in Northern California, in the Northern California punk scene, is just DIY. Just do it yourself. Just do it until someone starts asking you to do it. And that has kind of always been my approach. I just make shit and I see what sticks. So yeah, I mean, that's a punk music is a great thing to point independent artists to and be like, you can 100%. Treat your films the same way these punk bands treat their music. Daniel O'Connor, who did the music for That's Our Time, he's in a band called 4 Year Strong. Him and I hit it off because just like we both loved movies, and he said, "Oh, I want to try doing music sometime." And I went, "Yeah, I just finished a short. You want to do the music?" He said, "Yeah, I'll do it. No sweat." So
nice.
Get out there, meet people, network and engage, and figure out what you love, because people will come through for you. They'll help you out.
So I always ask this question, and Neil hates it when I ask it, but I'm asking anyway.
I literally hate this.
And it's because it's a hard question to answer. So what is your favorite movie?
See, how do you say your favorite one movie? Like, if you say a top 10, I get that, but like your favorite movie,
it changes, man.
Well, I'm not gonna tell you. Right, I tell you what my favorite movie is right now.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Right now, if you ask me what my favorite movie is, I would say Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes.
So that's what I would say. I would say I count them as one movie.
Yeah.
So both of them together make my favorite movie. Movies that get that, like, have achieved favorite movie in my life: E.T.,
yeah,
Ghostbusters,
that's for sure,
Back to the Future, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, the Royal Tenenbaums. You can see the inspiration from that, right? And
100%. Yeah. The symmetrical aspect of That's Our Time has a real sort of that influence in it for sure.
Yeah. You can I love talking about the influences, because I think they're weird for That's Our Time. When you hear what they are, it's like, oh, E.T. and it's like, it's there. You just gotta look for it. I think E.T., Last Black Man in San Francisco, The Royal Tenenbaums,
Yeah,
and Social Network is another huge one for me.
sure.
I also
Oh,
now
yeah.
too, like, I kind of, and this is really cheating your question, is now I kind of jump to favorite director.
Oh,
and
I'm
I
with
kind
I'm
of
with you on
take-
that.
Oh,
I'm with you on that.
I-
I'm a big Fincher fan, big Astor fan now. Even Eggers has done 3 films, but they're all amazing. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big director guy.
Yeah,
I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. If you can't tell right there.
Oh yeah, here's a Carpenter thing for you. Somebody gave That's Our Time like a half star out of 5
Oh, wow.
on Letterboxd, and I was like, oh, that's brutal. And then I saw they gave The Thing a half star, and I went, great. The Thing is the greatest horror movie ever made.
What?
I've seen that.
How?
I got nothing for you.
I got a good story for The Thing. Just 5 seconds of something. I was working a tattoo convention for the radio station a couple weeks ago, and there was a guy at this tattoo convention getting The Thing poster completely tattooed across his entire back, and the guy was paying the guy $3,000 a day to do this because of how much dark shadowing and all that stuff was. And me and the radio DJ were just like looking at this like, dude, what the, like, that's like $9,000. He goes, for your whole back. I go, yeah, I guess $9,000 for your entire life, because you're not gonna be able to cover that one.
Yeah, for sure. That is commitment to a love for The Thing, which is, again, I actually just saw The Thing for the first time maybe a year and a half ago. I finally watched it for the first time. It was one of those ones that everyone had just been telling me to watch, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then finally, one Halloween, I was like, all right, I'm doing The Thing. It's time for The Thing. And of course, like, I was like,
it holds up, so well. I don't know that they didn't have to remake it. It holds up now. The original thing just.
And even like my favorite is They Live, because the whole subliminal messaging behind everything and stuff like that, how that even lives more in today's society,
yes,
than it did even then in 1989 when they made the film. It's just like, John Carpenter, what a genius! A big round of applause, John Carpenter.
Yeah. Big round of applause for John. All right, John, you did it, John.
So let's see. Did we go through all the questions that you wanted, Chris? Do we got anything else that we're trying to look at?
Only thing. Also, when we have a guest on the show, we'll always ask them to say something for us. So Alex, could you just repeat this? Say, hi, I'm Alex Bax, and you're listening to Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
Great.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Alex Backus, and you're listening to Movies That Suck and Some That Don't. Wait, is that what it is?
No,
movies that don't suck, and I reversed it. Right. I'm going to read it on my screen right here.
That sounds good.
Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Alex Backus, and you're listening to Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do.
Perfect. I love that.
Wait. So I'm gonna now, Alex, I'm gonna say this. You are a gentleman and a half, so we have been butchering your last name.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
35, 40
Backus.
minutes.
Backus. I've been getting backs my whole life.
I'm so sorry. We're so sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Don't even for a second even think about it. We had already started recording. I was like, I'm not gonna hit these guys with the correction while we record. I'm not gonna do that to them. I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna do you dirty.
It's okay. With these Panic Fest ones, what we do is we do a review like we normally do on our normal podcast. We don't normally interview people. The interview thing is only for the Panic Film Fest.
Sure.
So what we'll do is we're going to do like a good 10-15 minute review of, It's Our Time.
That's Our Time. Yeah.
Some of the That's Our Time. And so we'll apologize for saying your name.
Oh, you're both very kind. You don't need to do that, but if you do, I appreciate it. It's all. It's all good.
It's a running gag in our podcast that I literally get all the names wrong all the time, everywhere. Like Taika, I can't even remember how many different times I've said his name the wrong way. Taika with Tati, Taka with Kiki Kakuata.
Anything you get something wrong, I mutter the right way to say it into the microphone.
Yes. That's amazing.
But
go ahead, Chris.
It was I want to say thanks for talking so much, Alex. It was a great time talking to you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, boys. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words about the film. You know, I've worked on that thing for 17 months, and now that people are finally seeing it, it feels really good to hear people kind of respond to it in a really positive way. So,
Oh,
really,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
oh, no problem.
And I really hope you do get this to make a good full length film, because I feel like there's a lot of things you could go into, like
Fingers
telling
crossed.
telling different stories and just the couple that you got of like where things would reflect and stuff like that to review it back. It's kind of like, I want to say it's almost like Sixth Sense, if you want to
Yeah.
say that in a worse, you
Yeah.
know, or it's just like some people are going to maybe see the foreshadowing. I'm not going to say some people saw foreshadowing on Sixth Sense, but some
Yeah.
people I know did. But it seriously just lends yourself to like really think about all the different aspects, especially when it all comes to the conclusion at the end, because it really shows that you're looking at through one set of eyes, but literally if you're looking through a
Yeah.
totally different set of eyes.
It inspires discussions just outside the movie. Just seeing it, it to me,
Yeah.
just it's begging to be talked about after you're done with it, and that's
I
why
really wanted like there were a lot of main goals, but like one of my big goals was I wanted, when it said directed by Alex Backus, like in the credit sequence, like after he pulls the hood up and we go in and then it says directed by Alex, I wanted to hear people start talking.
Yeah.
Like that's what I care. I was like, if I hear people go like then I've done my job, because I know that when I finish a movie that I love, the first thing I do, because I haven't been talking for 2.5 hours, I lean over to like my wife and go, that was fucking sick. Right? Like, like, or something's awesome. Like, so for me, that is like the main thing. If people are just like, even if they're like, I hated it, it's like, at least you engaged with it. Like,
right.
I won't say anything, but I think it sounds like you saw Beau is Afraid, because you were talking about
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've seen Beau is Afraid, and like, dude, that audience, like, you want to talk about a strange post, like a credit vibe in an audience. Like, I heard like there were people that shot up immediately and like ran out the door.
Yeah.
There were people that were like, I guess I'm just gonna sit here through this whole credit sequence. It was such a strange thing. So like, that's a perfect example of like, you elicit something.
Yeah.
As long as you elicit something, you've done your job.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about Beau's Afraid, but
Same.
I'm leaning towards liking it. I think that's where I'm going on that one.
I'm leaning towards that it's not for me.
Yeah.
But I can recognize why it is going to be for some people.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of films he makes me go watch. Like this, Beau is Not Afraid is one of them that we haven't reviewed yet because of all the Panic Film Fest. And he's like, well, this is the movie you need to go see. But it's like, dude, I really don't have 3 hours right now, bro.
And bro, you need 3 hours, because that is healthy 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So it's Evil Dead Rise, and then the Beau is okay.
There's masterclass of filmmaking in that thing. Just something that you'll never see anywhere else.
Yeah, you're never going to see anything like it. Like, it's definitely, just as a movie lover, you should see it. But just know, there's a good chance you walk out of that theater and you're like, man, fuck Chris for making me watch that. Like, or you're like, damn, that was wild, and I can't wait to talk about it on the podcast.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Like two movies I always respect this back to is Requiem for a Dream, The Whale. Like, great movies, awesome movies. I will never watch them again. Yeah. I will tell you to go watch them because they are good freaking movies. But I will never sit down and watch those movies again because it got me some feelings in my insides where I'm like, okay, I don't feel good about anything I do in life now.
Well, this one is going to be no different, unfortunately. So enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
All right, I'm glad I live in Oklahoma where everything's legal. Anyway.
Alex, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And when you guys post it, let me know. I'll
Oh,
blast it out on
absolutely.
all my socials and
Oh,
stuff.
that's great to know.
Yep. All right.
Okay, yeah. Chris is the one that does all the editing, so he'll get us all sounding good.
Yeah, I'm producer.
Some
Yeah.
things might be mixed around, so you sound like you're saying different things to us. Like,
Nah,
No,
worries.
you know,
no, I don't.
no,
do that.
definitely, because I need to know when the check is in the mail for my Blackwood Elder Ring. But no, Alex, man, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Keep creating because we love watching
And
everything.
we'll champion everything you do. No
I
problem.
really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
You have a good day, man.
All right, later.
All right. Danny came home in the middle of that, and then she came in the door, and
Yeah, I
so
saw
give me
that.
5. Yeah, so give me 5 seconds, and I'll be right back. All right.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll talk over everything. All right.
Okay. All right.
What's up, Dick?
That was a great interview, man. He was fun to talk to.
Yeah, dude. I think we've had some really good luck with the people we interviewed this
I know,
year.
right? Tell me about it. Everyone's been fantastic, ready to talk. I was really kind of worried about Evan and Alex, but they were both great.
Yeah, dude. For real.
Yeah. So, when do you want to get together to do the intro and outro for Laced? Like, when do you want to do that? Do you want to do that now?
The what?
For Laced? The movie Laced that we talked to. Yeah, you just set up.
So I have a. I had some pictures and I think I deleted them all.
That's okay. It's okay.
I did delete them all because I was making more space.
Yeah. My computer's so filled up. I do like delete like 40 podcasts. I'm like, God damn, there's just filling up everything.
I mean, we have enough that I can go off of it. Let me, I can just pull it up real quick and we can go for it. And then we can do That's Our Time at the same time and get them both done and over with.
Okay, you want? Okay, cool. We'll do the intro.
Well,
we'll do the review and intro.
We'll do the review and intro for Laced real quick. We'll finish that real quick.
Yeah.
We won't have any clips.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Just don't worry about clips.
Because we talked to them.
Yeah,
what they
we
sound like.
talk to them. Well, same thing with Our Time. We don't have clips for them either.
Yeah.
But don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Because that's part of our regular program. This is a panic film program.
Yeah.
We'll just go with what we got on that. Okay, so give me just 5 minutes to set up, and I will be more than happy to do both of these. So first, I got to get naked. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'll keep the whole back and anything, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It shouldn't take us but 45 minutes, maybe. So.
If that, buddy. I'm telling you right now, it will not take us that long. Just give me a second. I'm getting some. I feel like.
Also, for the intro for every PayFest episode, I've been just putting the hi, this is, and whoever it is, and this those the movies. It's like I've been putting that as the intro and just fixing up the conclusion. So it's not like I'm asking them to do something; they're just doing it. So that's been pretty cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But at least, like you said, easy as fuck to clean up. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second. All right. Let's see if these work. One there. Okay, there's that and that. And what a nice guy to not say, correct us the whole time.
I know, right? I felt so bad.
At the same time, I'm like, dude, it's kind of a dick move.
Yeah.
By the way, this is still recording the whole time. I want you to know that we're still.
Yeah, we're still going.
The video is still recording. So if you want this whole track, I'll send it all over to you. Or if you want me to stop now.
No, I got it on my end too. So it sounded good. We have a great connection today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Just let me know. I'll save this, and this video will be saved on my YouTube. And then what it is.
Evan shouted us out on the podcast on like Facebook and stuff like that. Evan Marlowe, because I put that stuff out yesterday. So, and then
nice.
Never Junkhead liked it and retweeted us, and they just give us a straight up like shout out. Just think, yeah.
So. What was the other? Oh, Laced.
Yeah.
Got everything ready for. All right. Laced. We're gonna live forever.
Laced. We're gonna do it good.
That's Fame, isn't it? Oh, my bad.
But we'll do Laced and then we'll do That's Our Time. You want to do it that way? And then And I'll send you an email. What else we'll watch for the like quadruple episode whenever we get to that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, because the quadruple episode. I mean, next weekend Danny's gone all weekend,
Okay.
and she's in. So Friday night you're bored, we can get together. You know, like
Yeah,
just
I think I'm free Friday. I think I'm free Friday.
yeah, like literally, she'll be in San Diego, so I'll be here, and then Saturday morning I got to drive to somewhere in Kansas with my mother-in-law for a funeral.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. If that wasn't happening, then I'd just be getting shit fucking wasted all weekend.
Yeah.
And
we'll do our regular thing on Thursday when it comes to recording. I have no issues with that. I made sure that was free.
Yep, I got to go see Ghosted on Apple Plus, and then we weren't watching Ghosted when the Apple Plus thing was going on. We were watching the new episode of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. No, Lee is almost finally caught up because I got her into it, and I'm glad so glad she's watching it now. But she asked her a week ago. She likes
Shrinking and Hello Tomorrow. We like Hello Tomorrow.
What is Hello Tomorrow? What is that?
Hello Tomorrow is basically think of it as like a Fallout if the nuclear bomb didn't drop.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll check that out.
Like
for sure.
so, it's like new age technology with old designs.
Okay,
so like
steampunky kind of.
Yeah, it's like the hover car. Their cars are hover,
Oh,
but it's like a 55 Bel Air.
Oh, so it's like it's like what Back to the Future thought cars would look like.
And then it's like robots that are bartenders.
Okay, cool.
Like but the floating robots, like and stuff. And then what it is, it's a group of people that are selling people plots of land on the moon to live on.
Oh, so this okay, that's cool because
so they're door-to-door salesmen. Okay. So it's a story about door-to-door salesmen, and one of the characters is played by the dude that does all the voices on The Simpsons.
Oh, Dan Castellaneta. Oh, or Hank Azaria, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Hank. And so yeah, it's really good, man. It's it's an actual story though. So
okay.
All right. So I got Lace stuffed up. All right. So which one you want to go for first?
Let's go Laced. We'll do that. We'll get that. We'll get that one out of the way so I can throw that out tonight.
Okay. So let me find Laced. Got it right there.
Awesome. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I didn't do any quotes for It's Our Time because it's 10 minutes and it's a short. So that one should be fine.
That'd be a short interview. A short review on both these, but mostly that's our time. We'll be like, this is what it's about. You have to watch it. It's 8 minutes. Like, what are you doing? Listen to us talk about it. But here we go.
It's a show by Chris and Neil with all great movies. They are the real deal. We watch them all, so you don't have to. It's movies that don't suck and some that do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, this is Movies That Don't Suck and Some That Do. My name's Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And guys, today we are still continuing our road of coverage, the road of horror movies, thriller movies, everything we can from one of the biggest film festivals of the year for us, Panic Film Fest. That is right there in North Kansas City. Now, Chris has been basically living there. He has a tent there, a sleeping bag. Maybe he has spawned 3-4 kids.
Adam didn't tell me to leave, so
they're hosing him off the sidewalk. Now, if you don't know, the Panic Film Festival is held at the Screenland Armor, which is in North Kansas City, right across the river from downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Literally one of the coolest movie theaters you go into. And guys, if you can't make it to the film festival, which is every mid-April in Kansas City, then you guys can follow on at panicfilmfest.com. That's panicfilmfest.com, where they have a virtual tour. They have everything that's going on. You can buy tickets to watch movies that they have in their theater, and you literally get like this 8-bit game that you will go around in. That's like The Sims, if The Sims was on Nintendo, and
Yes,
about horror movies.
it's isometric view, so it's from above, and it's really cool. Like I've walked through there several times and playing games on there. I got lost in its cave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome, guys, and definitely if you get a chance, go to panicfilmfest.com to go around, find out what it's all about, see if you can catch next year's, see if you can catch some of the films or get some of the ideas of films that are going to be out there for you to watch, because believe me, they've had a slew of them this year. Everything from Reinfeld to even the movie that we're going to talk about today, which is Laced.
At least it's yeah, we're gonna talk about that, and at the end of it, we have a great interview with the guy people from the main list. So stick around for that. You can check out our information.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, maybe give information about. Oh, what? Well, you're right, because we don't normally do it like this, so we don't know what it is. All right, so, Chris, where can they find us?
Find us on moviesdon'tsuck.net. We're at w2mnet.com. The W number 2mnet.com. You'll find our podcast there along with tons of other podcasts. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/movies. Yeah, /Movies Don't Suck Podcast. We're on Twitter at MTS Podcast. We're on Instagram at MTS Podcast. Go to patreon.com/Movies Don't Suck if you guys want to throw us some money also on the top left hand side of the screen if you're watching us on the video. And if you're if you guys want shirts, like a Movies Don't Suck shirt, go to bonfire.com, search Movies Don't Suck and something new, you'll find out there on some of the cool shit that Neil's made. And if you're watching on YouTube and Instagram, watch the Facebook, go and like that page. And wherever you find podcasts, you find podcasts, you find movies that don't suck, and some that do. You there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and guys, normally we have something here advertising a small business. If you have a small business, make sure to just reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to go through and that 1, 2, 3. Guys, if you have a small business, just let us know. Give us the information. Just email us, message us, and tell us in person. Give us a business card. We're more than happy to help you and your small business out free of charge. So literally, just give us the information. We can give you to our thousands of followers or millions of listeners. 100%. You can do that. We'll be more than happy to. But today, we are now deep diving again into another movie from the Panic Film Festival. Chris, tell us all about it.
We're talking about the movie Laced, directed by Kyle Buetanoff, starring Kyle, Hermione Lynch as Dana Macken as Molly, and Zach Tinker as Austin. That's really the main cast, 4 people.
That's the only cast.
Yeah, it's the only cast, and it's a really cool like thriller, like not a whodunit, but like sort of like a thriller, like a crime thriller, right? Like kind of. What would you say it is?
Something like that, or you could just be like, "Hey Neil, read the storyline."
Oh
like
yeah,
we
Neil,
normally do.
Yeah, read the storyline. I'm sorry, we're all over the place today.
Yeah. You want to go for that one again?
Yeah. Okay, Neil, why don't you read the storyline for this?
Okay, cool. In an unpersistent snowstorm, a wife's plans to kill her abusive husband begin to unravel.
Yeah, so this is like a thriller.
This is the best way you said it best when writing up questions for the people. Like this is very Hitchcock. This is very
Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
This is very what you think one thing's coming and it's the other way. Like
it's a chamber piece, so it takes place in one place mostly, like 3 or 4 rooms of a house. And like with that, when having such a small space, it forces filmmakers to get creative, and we got a lot of creativity in this movie.
yes, a lot of creativity. And to be honest, we are just this movie. Okay, one, Kyle. Now, me and Chris, if you listen to the show in the past, I have always have this theory where someone who plays a villain, a bad guy, or even it doesn't matter if they're in pro wrestling or on movies.
Yeah.
My number one thing is if they are a major asshole on film, on screen, then in real life they are super sweetheart. And
Yeah, that's
we get that question answered in
Yeah.
the interview. So make sure to cape forward for that.
I mean, you
But
always tell that story about Andre the Giant when you're a kid, how he picked you up for your balls. Is that not the
yeah,
guy? Yeah.
and he was a bad guy at the time. He was
Yeah.
a villain at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Kyle and Dana were 100% awesome people to talk to.
And they were great
Um,
actors too. Like they were great in
yes.
this.
They really played their parts well in this movie. Dana, Molly, the main character, is going through this should she to try to kill her husband by making this shepherd's pie, which she's gonna lace with drugs, and that's why the movie's called
Yeah, it's
Lace.
the very beginning. Yeah,
It's the very beginning.
it's
I'm
like the
not
first scene.
spoiling
Yeah, yeah.
anything. That's not what the turmoil of this picture is.
Oh no.
But it's got me thinking I shouldn't eat less shepherd pies. But Kyle, like, oh my gosh, one, he plays a complete asshole in this movie. And he should be, because he's a Denver Broncos fan, and we all know Denver Broncos fans are assholes. Like they're the best. It's like, no.
And then
They were the best for one season once with Peyton Manning. Like John Elway doesn't even count anymore.
Yeah, and Hermione and Zach, fantastic at those characters as Victoria and Austin. They were amazing. All the actors in this are top notch, really.
Yeah, this is a very not superstitious, but suspenseful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a suspense. Yeah, definitely
it's a suspense movie, because you want to know, is people going to find out? Is things going to go right? Is if what's going to happen? Like is he going to die? Is he not going to die? Like like there's every single corner of this film has you on edge, because you don't know if the thing you want to happen is going to happen, or if it's going to be completely all
I
around.
was surprised all around at some of the things that happened. I'm like, holy shit! I remember saying that out loud in the theater when I saw this. Just like, holy fucking, in the theater, like it's a small one. It's the theater too. It's Greenland, so it's like 40 people, and you hear everyone collectively gasp. Everyone be like, oh fuck, like at the same time. It was really cool to see this in theaters, and I'm sure you were at home, be like, oh shit. Like, I know it surprised you at points too, right?
Oh yeah, by any means. I was actually in this very room right now that I'm in, because my monitors, I got a pretty good sized monitor here, and it's great to with these soundproof, so therefore I don't hear everything in the world going on. But yeah, there's many times in this film where like, oh shit, no, no. The characters played off of each other really well. Now, the two main characters, Kyle and or Charlie and Molly, who are played by Kyle and Dana, you could tell they've played with each other before. There's a wonderful musical called Quarantine the Musical that they did, that was a slap comedy, serious, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you say because it was comedy that brought a serious subject.
Was it dramedy?
I don't know if it was a dramedy. It was more of a comedy.
Okay.
And at the end, they're like, "Hey, I know we all got to laugh from this, but people died because of it." It's like, oh yeah, you just brought it back.
But yeah, there was chemistry between Charlie and Molly, Zach, and Molly and Victoria. Like chemistry all around. Like they had the best people to work with them, because it was tight. The script was tight, but it also felt very natural. The speaking, like a lot of times you'll see something like if you still watch a Lifetime movie, you're like, God, this is so sloggy. But this is the complete opposite. That the dialogue was snappy and popped, but it's also very natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like at any time, this not just the natural way to talk, but like I feel like Zach Tinker and Dana, they played brother and sister in this.
I believed it.
Yeah, I believed it. I believe that they were brother and sister. They talked to each other like a brother and sister do. I mean, how do you talk to your sister?
I mean, I talk to my sister seldomly, but when I do, I talk to her like I call her by her short name, and and I fuck around with her. We have fun, but
right,
Dana and Zach, and Molly and Austin felt like brother and sister.
Yeah, I
I've-
felt like they picked on each other well. They did the thing. The looming over darkness of this film is just like
oh,
there's
dude,
just such a like a dark complexion to this film
just
that you're
dread.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, it gets to the point where you're kind of like, man, I kind of feel bad
yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm rooting for the bad guy here. And so like
But even then, it's sort of like, who is the bad guy too? They sort of make you question like the motivations of everyone and what
yeah,
you would do in this situation. Which is
it's
you want a
it's
movie that's gonna sort of test you, and this
yeah.
and Lace does that.
And that's the thing about like this movie is like it is one of those that afterwards, at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe I'm not a good guy for liking the way this turned out or the way this is gonna turn out.
Yeah,
But man, it is what it is. So let's get some quotes
yeah,
and we'll give our rating on this thing.
yeah. Sounds good to me.
All right, let's see how if I'm on the right page first. Give me a second. Yeah, yep, because I watched it after Renfield. All right, cool. What's going on?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm giving quotes.
Oh,
All
sorry.
Burn a candle when it's done. I want you to know I love you. Oh, is that for me or is your boyfriend coming around? What are we having for dinner? Shepherd's pie. What the fuck, Jesus? Call that asshole. Nobody's happy all the time. Show me someone who's happy 24/7, and I will show you someone ready for a straitjacket. Sometimes I think I'm happy, but then I realize that I'm just not sad.
Mhm.
What is the score of the game? Because every Broncos fan has to ask that
Oh
100
yeah. Okay.
times because they lose constantly. I'm going to say a big scary word, but don't you worry. We are trying to help you. Flat on your back, and you still bowling the fuck out of her.
Which you-
Oh, I want you. No, yeah, I'm just, my handwriting sometimes,
yeah,
dude. You
yeah,
gotta,
yeah.
dude.
Mine all the time. So
Yeah,
when
yeah. Understand where you are is because I want it that way. Somehow this isn't even the worst coming out story I've ever heard. This was self-defense. Who knows what that fucker was capable of? You will never look at me the same again. You're a grown-ass woman. How do you not know how to lie yet? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
right.
If this seat is good enough for Super Bowl 32, it's good enough for you. Lucky I know how to fix it. How's that? Whiskey?
I
He
fixed a lot of
said,
things.
yeah, he fixes lots and lots of that. He said he changed, he stopped drinking, he found God. Now, if you don't mind, I know where Chuck keeps his good bourbon. You have it wrong. That's not the saying. It's 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
Ooh.
Her parents really wanted a Denny's waitress. One of my favorite days of my life, and I can never go there again. Who the fuck still uses Facebook? That's it.
All right. So my score on this 4.3. it really surprised me. It was something that was I didn't expect to grip me so well, but I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I hate that I let you go first sometimes because that's exactly the number I was going to give it,
God damn
4.3.
it!
Like,
We'll see you guys later.
yeah, see you later. I guess we don't get to argue about anything today.
There's no Rotten Tomatoes score yet, so that's just our score today.
Your face is today.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's not out yet, so there's no Rotten Tomatoes score on it. So I searched but yeah, it when this comes out, we'll definitely be shouting from the mountaintops where to find it. But Lace was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that literally, guys, that it was one of the best ones at the Panic Film Festival. By any means, you get a chance to go see this, do tomorrow. Do it right. Do it butt naked. Just butt naked. All. What are we talking about? Where did I go off? I'm on a tangent now.
Yeah, we're on tangents. We do that though. But
anyway, but no, this is literally a good movie. It is Hitchcraftian, very much like Hitchcock. It is very who done it, who did it, what's going to happen kind of film.
Suspense, yeah.
Very suspenseful. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is this. I can't wait to see what Kyle comes up with next.
Yeah.
Like, Kyle has been working. He's worked on several films. He's done everything from acted in like SWAT and Mayans and other things like that. But just to see this movie, you're going to get an idea of what his thought process is in that. But to tell you what his thought process is, it's very easy to do. All you have to do is continue to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to be hearing from you're going to hear from Kyle, you're going to hear from Dana, and you're going to hear from Matthew. Yeah, I'm good. You stop correcting me every 5 seconds. That's all Chris knows how to do. He's like, oh, well, man, I gotta wait. Okay, now I can correct him. But Chris, introduce the next portion of this. Then I'm done. I quit.
Oh, you can't talk anymore. Okay, so yeah, you guys stick around. We're gonna talk to Kyle Butenhoff, Dana Mackin, and Matt Reamy of the Laced, and we have a great interview with them. Stick around to hear that.
It's great. It's a great interview. We had a good time. It took so long for us to even like tell them we can't anymore. We gotta go.
I had to. My lunch break was over.
Yeah. There's even a part. If I don't know if he edited it out or not.
I kept it.
You kept it in there. I literally tried to cut it short, or cut it off. And Chris is like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, dude, you're the one that told me you had to go back to work.
And I was like, but they like me. It's okay.
they like me.
All right. Well, guys, stick around.
But guys, stick around for the rest of this end of this episode. Have a good time, and make sure to remember, we were all drunk when we aired. No, we weren't. We were 100% sober. Right, but it'd have been nice. All right, here you guys.
All right, cool. We did that. So we can just start over and do a quick review.
Do I need to do an outro?
Oh yeah, we'll do an outro. We'll do that now.
Like, 1 second. I got to come up with something. It's not like just. Do you not notice that it's all stuff that I come up with? Some of it I write down sometimes. You dick. Give me a second. All right, go. That's another episode of Movies Don't Suck and Some Do. My name is Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And remember, guys, no matter how hard or how no, wait a minute, redo it over. I got it. I went the wrong word.
Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go. That's another episode of Movies Don't Suck and Some Do. My name is Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And remember, guys, no matter how hot the woman is that hands you a shepherd pie, maybe sometimes you just shouldn't eat it. Have a good day. All right, there's that one. Here, let me just end this real quick, just in case you need the sound bits from this, and it's not really long files. So let me just